Hello and all, welcome to the Galaxy Man Show. I am here with this incredible artist for the next guest known as Lauren Teel. So I'm about to add Lauren Teel into the live now and have a chat with Lauren about her incredible music. So let's add Lauren in and have a chat with Lauren. Hello, how's it going?
It's going really well. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks. I just want to say first up, thank you so much for taking the time to join my show, Lauren. It is such an incredible pleasure having you on the show for today. To people that don't know who you are, if you give like a bit of backstory about yourself, and then we'll dive right into the questions.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Lauren Teel. I'm a country songwriter in here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, about 30 minutes south of Nashville. Um, I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. I spent the first 18 years of my life there. But yeah, I've been here for about 4 years. So yeah.
So we'll dive right into the questions now, Lauren. So for my very first question, so you've created incredible original songs, and for the first original song I'm going to mention is called "Welcome to the Show." Like, what was it like coming up with the title of this name of the song, and like, what's the meaning behind "Welcome to the Show"?
Yeah, so I was actually 13 when I wrote that song. I actually wrote it with the help of my songwriting coach at the time, Remington Raphael. I was in Dallas, and all my songs up until that point were very sad or heartbreaky. And so I came to him and I was like, I really want to write an upbeat song, and I want to write it around the idea of performing. I had a song in mind that I really liked by Jason Aldean called My Kind of Party, and I kind of wanted to go off that. And so I took inspiration from that kind of style of song, and we came up with the words. It was really cool. I had this verse in my head, which was the first verse, and then we came up with the chorus together, and then the second verse just came out, and so yeah.
So on to my very next question. So you have also created an original song called "City Girl." What was it like creating this one, and what's the meaning behind City Girl?
Yeah, so City Girl, I started writing City Girl when I was about 14 and didn't finish it. I kind of put it on the back burner until I moved here, which is when I was 19. And so I really growing up in uptown Dallas, I went to St. Monica Catholic School, and I never really felt like I belonged. It was very city, and I wanted to be, out in the country and riding horses and stuff. And so um, I wrote a song about not feeling like you belong where you were born, and wanting to being a city girl but wanting to be a country girl. And so I wrote it with that basis, and it wasn't until I really cracked down on, okay, I want to release an album, that I finally was able to finish it. So yeah.
So on to my very next question. So you have also created an original song called Nicholas. What was it like creating this one, and what's the meaning behind Nicholas?
Yeah, when I was 13, I had a huge crush on a boy in my theater class, whose name was Nicholas. And so I wrote it about him, and I was really proud of this one because the chords were very different. They were very different than what I was used to, which were at the time like only 2 to 3 chords per song, whereas this one had, I think, 4 or 5 chords in the song. I was really proud of the pattern too of the chords. And the song is really about having a crush on someone that you didn't notice before. Yeah.
So on to my very next question. So you have also created an original song called Vows. What was it like coming up with the idea of wanting to create this one, and what's the meaning behind Vows?
So Vows I wrote about my parents' divorce from both of their perspectives. So it was very emotional writing that song. Um, I was about 14, and um, I'd just seen my aunt get divorced as well. And so I wanted to write a song surrounding that. And what's funny is my dad actually inspired the bridge of that song. We were driving one day, and he just says, well, till divorce do us part. And so that became the part of the bridge. So yeah.
So on to my very next question. So what made you decide as a person and especially as an artist to get into singing in the first place?
So I could actually sing before I could talk. Um, so I was practically deaf when I was born. I wasn't able to hear very well at all until I had tubes put in my ears twice. And so after that, I became a very vibrant baby. But I, my babysitter at the time says that when I was about 10 to 11 months old, um, so I had been watching a lot of the like ABC videos and stuff like that. And she said I literally sang the ABCs. Sorry, not 10 months. I think it was like 21 months or something. I was like about 2.5. I literally sang the ABCs perfect pitch, was not didn't miss a single letter. And she said that's the moment I knew you were going to be a star. And so and she always tells me that story every time I see her. So yeah, I sang just a lot, and throughout my elementary school years, I would actually sing at recess instead of playing games with the other kids, and that got me a lot of grief, particularly from the other kids, just because I wasn't like normal per se. But yeah, so I've always been singing.
So on to my very next question about the whole singing process. So like what does performing music like mean to you? Like especially as an artist, like when you're performing like with crowds, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, so I am actually not an artist anymore. I've decided to sort of focus on songwriting. But when I was an artist, it was really um, performing is about taking who you are and making it your own and giving it to the world. You have to really know who you are, or else you're gonna be copying someone else. For the longest time, I was kind of not copying, but I was kind of going off of what Taylor Swift did in her performances. And it took some time until before I was able to kind of say, well, who am I? Because every time I would get off the stage up until I was about 19 or 20, they would be like, oh my gosh, you're like a brunette Taylor Swift. And I loved hearing that. But that's not that's not really the goal. The goal is to be a Lauren Teel, not the next Taylor Swift, because there is no next Taylor Swift. And so yeah, so that was always my goal, is to kind of put myself into my performances for sure.
So on to my very next question. So what is your all-time favorite cover song to perform and why?
My favorite cover song to perform is definitely "Make You Feel My Love" by Adele. I love this song. It's such a beautiful. It was her cover actually of I'm forgetting the original artist, but it was actually a cover that she did, and so I basically do the cover in her style, and it just goes really well with my vocal range, and I just love performing it.
So on to my very next question. So if you could work with any top three music artists in the music industry, who would they be and why?
I would say Kelsey Ballerini, Priscilla Block, and Taylor Swift for sure. Um, these three girls, and there are so many other women that are absolutely spectacular in the country sphere. These three girls, their lyrics have really um, pushed boundaries in country music, and they've often come off as slightly controversial in some cases. I mean, with Priscilla Block and her PMS song, and Thick Thigh song, and Taylor Swift with a lot of her songs. There's so many to mention, and then um, Kelsey Ballerini with her most recent EP surrounding her divorce. I mean, these are very I love their writing, and I love the topics that they write about, and so I'd love to get into the writing session with one of those girls.
So on to my very next question. So if you could go anywhere on tour, take your music to any place, any country in the world, like where would you want to go to and why?
Um, I definitely would want to go to Italy. I have a lot of cousins over there, and I'm half Italian, and so I would love to. Although do love Australia as well. I want to visit there so bad, but the plane ride is so long. So for sure, definitely Italy would be my first pick.
After asked, by the way, favorite Italian food.
Favorite Italian food. Ooh, that's really tough. Okay, so there's this thing called lasagna bolognese, and my nonna makes it every year for Christmas, and it's so good. It's like lasagna's better cousin. It's amazing.
I love that. So, on to my very next question for you. So, what advice would you give to upcoming artists that want to get into music? And yeah, what advice would you give them?
Um, I would say definitely um don't be afraid to um branch out into other things. I know that a lot of times um like for instance, I was not okay with the idea of just being a songwriter when I first moved to Nashville. I was like, I want to sing my songs. My songs are my babies, you know. But now I'm at the point where I'm really looking at my life and kind of saying, I want a lifestyle that's very synonymous to being just a songwriter. And for a lot of artists, a lot of times they're like, well, I can't do that in a show, or I can't dance like that in a show, or I can't, I'm not doing that. I'm not, whatever it is, or I'm not performing, or I'm not recording with that style of music. Don't be afraid to dive into things that may be a slightly out of your comfort zone, because that's often where the best music is made.
So, on to my very next question. So, if now, Lauren, looking back over your time in the music career, like what advice would you give to your younger self and why?
Whew, oh my goodness. The advice I'd give to my younger self, excuse me, is definitely um, enjoy the moment, because when I first came to Tennessee, I met my band my first semester, and then COVID happened, and I didn't get much time with my band after that, and then a lot of them graduated. And so I would just tell her, enjoy the moment while it lasts.
So, on to my very next question. So, what are the positive and negative side into the whole music industry, and how do you get through those like negative moments as an artist?
Yeah, so um there are a lot of positives. It's a very creative outlet. It's very uplifting majority of the time. That being said, the negatives, it's a very lucrative business. You have to know someone. Majority of the time, you got to know someone. And so there's that. You either have to know someone or you have to go viral. Those are the two main things. And oftentimes, you got to have both. So, and another thing, uh, it's a lot harder. It's getting better, but it's a lot harder for plus size women, particularly, to get into the industry. There's plenty of plus size men in the industry, but I think when it comes to like plus size women, we need to get more of them in there, because there's just not a lot, and there's a lot of really talented plus size women out there,
Yes.
but we just don't see it. And so another thing is and this is more in the country sphere, but it's still in the pop sphere. It's in pretty much every sphere. The lack of female representation on the radio is appalling. I don't know. Do you live in Australia?
I do live in Australia, yes.
I don't. I don't know how it is over there, but over here in the States, it's
Horrible.
appalling. It's
Okay.
it's horrible. So women make up 50% of the artists, um, in general.
Yeah.
Now, of the sign, they make up a lot less than that, but there's literally on the radio, I think it's up to 14% of the spins are women,
Yeah.
and then the rest are men. And in that 14% is including male female duets. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So that's another thing that's like a downside of the industry.
We need more female empowerment over in Nashville and
100,
all of the United States.
100%, yeah.
I tell you what, if you do ever get the chance to come to Australia, there's a great country event called Tamworth Music Festival. A lot of country artists go to that mainly in Australia. It's like near New South Wales-ish area. Very great event. I went there for the first time this year. Uh, Such a great experience. It goes for like the 2 weeks, like 2 weeks in January, but such a great
Wow.
vibe, such a great experience, and just like so many amazing artists at Tamworth Music Festival that were there, and it's just such a vibe. Like if you ever get the chance, highly recommend it. And yeah,
That sounds amazing.
yeah. So on to my very last question for you, Lauren. So like, what's next for you for the rest of 2023 onwards? Like anything you would like to announce?
Yeah, so I just recently released some unreleased demos on my SoundCloud, so that's kind of what I've been doing. And then I'm looking to play a couple more writers rounds this year. And then I am working on finishing my commercial songwriting degree. I got 2 years, well, 1 and 3/4 year left. I'm halfway through my first semester as a junior. So I'm really excited about that. And so I'm looking to, finish my degree. And then after that, I'm hoping to either sign one of my songs to a deal or get a publishing deal is the main goal. So yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much, Lauren, for taking the time to join my show. It has been such an incredible pleasure having you on. Do you have like any last final thoughts or anything that you would like to share to people on the show?
Of course, and thank you so much for having me. Um, Final thoughts, just to any musician or songwriter or artist out there. Um, there are going to be people along the way. There are going to be things along the way, whether it's self doubt, um, mean people. I haven't encountered many of those, but just there are going to be things along the way that try to sidetrack you or try to take your attention away from achieving your goals. Stay on track, stay focused, and you'll get there.